Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Lauren Data ECGrid's second annual town hall, Your EDI, Your Way. We're thrilled to have you join us. My name is Linda Moore, and we have an informative agenda lined up for you today. We're going to kick things off with our CEO, Todd Gould, as he shares his vision and insights about what's on the horizon for EDI and B2B integration.
Hey, thank you, Linda. And thank you, everybody, for attending. I did a quick look through the people who are attending today, and I see a lot of names I've known for a long time. I see people logging in, obviously, from North America. I see Europe and Asia on the call. So thank you all for taking your time in strange hours, if it's strange for you to be on this call, and I really appreciate it. So what we're going to look at today is really a little bit about EDI, and I can't talk about the future of EDI without diving a little bit about the past of EDI. And EDI itself really started as a real bold vision. And if you think when this all took place, this started as far back as the 40s. And that's a long time ago. It's before my time. And it was people saying, hey, we're going to try and figure out in these old days with these computers, and everything was new, how are we going to make one computer talk to another computer and share information for business type transactions? And how are we going to even do that? We use telephone lines and dial-up and modems, and communication was slow, it was terse, it was difficult. And it was very, very expensive to even figure out how to do that at the time. And people, I'm not going to go through the whole list here, but there were a lot of really important people along the way, a lot of very important organizations that stepped up to the plate. There was TDCC, X12, Edifact. I mean, just so many groups came in and brought everybody together to really work on this bold vision. And what's happened is it worked. And EDI itself really, I mean, to quote the bottom of the slide, EDI has stood the test of time. It is incredibly powerful and used today. And one of the things I like to say is that EDI is the nervous system of e-commerce. It's not the muscle, it's not the brains, it's not the blood, but it is the nervous. It's the part where everything in EDI, everything in commerce reacts to communication through EDI today. And if EDI was to shut down immediately, our entire global economy would collapse. Retail, grocery, automotive, oil, gas, health insurance, customs, military, just so much of it is so dependent on EDI today that it really is the nervous system, and it's what keeps everything actually functioning and going. And our biggest challenge with EDI really has to do with its huge successful past. And we have a huge legacy part of EDI that we contend with every day that was designed with tools many don't exist anymore, with computer systems that some of them do, some of them don't. We have to make new computers talk to old computers. We have, when we look at the actual raw EDI, it's terse, it's different. It's not the way people think about computer data anymore. And that goes back to part of its strength. You know, it's very terse, it's very small, it's very, very compact. It was done in a way to communicate a huge amount of information in a very small space over very slow systems. And that's one of the things that's allowed it to explode, because as the usage has grown immensely, we have not had an explosive use of the amount of data compared to other things in computing. So that's really worked in a lot of ways. I'm going to get down to, you know, the other part of the legacy challenge isn't just the legacy of the technology, which has shown itself to be actually very flexible. But it's the legacy of a lot of the players in the system who are really dragging their feet. They don't want to embrace anything new. They've invested their companies into maximizing shareholder value, not customer value. And frankly, I think we find a lot of it, this, I'll just put it right out there, their support sucks. And we all deal with it, even as customers of LearnData and ECGrid. When it comes to the other side of the equation, often it's on a different system, and we have to all deal with the lack of ability for them to provide the type of support that real-time EDI and real-time e-commerce and everything we're doing really depends upon. But for all of us, fortunately, that's them, and now is ECGrid. And the reasons that ECGrid now and looking into the future works so well is because it's the way ECGrid was envisioned as we planned it, as we developed it, as part of its original origin was APIs. And with those APIs allows us to continually create a robust system, adapt to new technology, new things. It allows us to adapt to new communications, new formats. JSON didn't exist back then. JSON is readily available through ECGrid. As it is, we can route JSON data, we can route XML data, we can transform data of any types. And this is where APIs really come in, because we use APIs first in-house. And what the APIs allow us to do internally is rapidly adapt to anything that you need as a customer or your customers need. But what it also does, we expose all these APIs to you, meaning that you can really dig and grow into the systems the same way we do internally at LearnData. So at ECGrid and with the system, really the two things that separate us and move us into the future are these APIs and its customer service. And everybody on this call who has interacted with the customer service from ECGrid knows that they're second to none. You have knowledgeable people who are addressing your issues. You know who they are by name. They're working with you. They work with your problems, and they take care of you. Because in the end, it's in the term customer service, what's the first word? It's customer. And that's what we really care about. All right. So looking into APIs a little bit, and why I want you to really embrace them if you haven't so far, is because API is really the tool we use to really unlock legacy code, legacy formats, legacy systems. We can move them into current systems, into JSON, into XML, and it doesn't matter what it is. Is it a CXML or an EBXML, whatever flavor of JSON? Is it customer specific? Is it a system where we are normalizing all the various functions of EDI into a standardized set of JSON? And that, as we get these formats more normalized into current lingo and technology and formats, it really introduces the ability to bring in AI into this entire system, both us internally and how we deal with it, but what you and your customers can do with the massive quantities of data. Because having an AI system try and understand how to really understand X12 or Edifact or any of these systems is much more challenging than being able to put it into a JSON format for the data to be processed. Now, I'm using APIs, and in these days, APIs has meant a lot of things over the years, but right now API is web services. And we're going to be addressing more of that with you and more in future town halls of really what that means to be able to introduce web services into your product. And one of my goals and my vision when I first came up with APIs was the ability to actually drill down from the user app all the way through ECGrid to be able to see all the information we have on our system without ever leaving their business application. You want to know what happened to that invoice that was sent. You can drill using our APIs today as is all the way through. You can see when it was sent, when it was received, when it was confirmed, when the reply came back to it, whether that was an MDN on AS2, an X1256 mailbag response, an OFTP confirmation. Whatever the confirmation we get on the other system, you can see that. You want to go hunt for stuff, you can do that right through the end user app. You want to look for customer information. You want to pull reports, whatever it may be that a customer wants to do. And it goes to the command and control. Right from the user app, you can add a new trading partner. They shouldn't have to go to the ECGrid or their van or wherever user interface to add a new trading partner and go through that process. Why not have all that information in the end user business app, ERP, warehouse management, whatever it may be, that they say have a new trading partner, put that right into their business app. Those data items are pulled, the API calls are made, and they get real-time confirmation when that trading partnership is ready on ECGrid. And that is going to relieve work for customer service. That's going to lower support for in-house tech. And that's going to allow the customer to be in command and control of their business environment with you as their guide, us as the backbone. And it's going to be a system that is really going to move a lot of use of EDI B2B as we go forward. I mean, this is what we've been saying, but the idea of ECGrid and the APIs is to provide all this connectivity. So I reviewed this before we got to the slide. So that's the risk of me talking offhand instead of going by notes here. So let's get to the next point. Customer experience matters. And it doesn't matter sometimes. It doesn't matter when things are good. It doesn't matter when things are wrong. It's always important. And I know that everybody on this call that uses ECGrid knows that this is a cornerstone to the way I have set up and envisioned ECGrid from day one, is that it's customer first, it's the customer experience. And that just goes beyond support. That goes to product. Those of you who have been with us long enough have seen the system go through numerous system interfaces and numerous incarnations of what ECGrid and ECGrid OS does. The initial system did not support mailboxes directly. The assumption was that mailboxes would be handled all by our customer on their customer systems. But as needs evolved from the customer, it became apparent that introducing mailboxing right into ECGrid OS was absolutely core to moving the system further. Allows the system to be sold at the mailbox level or sold at the network level. This all came from customer feedback. This was not internally. The interface itself, as everybody who's seen has been on it for the last 2 years, has seen that our user interface has gone through a tremendous overhaul in what's available, how it's used, how it functions, and how it works for the customer. And that came all from customer feedback. So your needs drive the direction of this product and where we go. My goal was looking at what did the market need when we set it up. But now we have a real continuous feedback loop, and you're the key part to making that happen with us. I'm not going to quote what's on the screen. I'm going to tell you this was presented to me, but I've heard this enough times. The most important part is really where we go with ECGrid. And this is perfect. Our people by name are helping you take care of issues, get things installed, get customers set up, tackle problems, and just make EDI flow the way it should. And I don't need to say any more. If you've experienced ECGrid, you know what that's all about. In the end, how do we get you on board? How do we get the customers on board? How do we get the trading partners on board? How fast and easily can we make this happen? How transparent can we make the system process so that everybody is able to get their data? Because at the end of the day, the data has to get from point A to point B. And it needs to happen repeatedly. It happens right now many million times a day on ECGrid. And it's really important that we are obsessive on our system about what doesn't work and constantly looking, how do we make it more efficient? How do we make it work faster? And how do we catch the errors before anybody even knows that they happen and correct them and move them along? And if we need to make corrective systems up or down the chain on this, we get that information out to people so we can be more efficient, you can be more efficient, and the whole system runs much, much better. So what John and the rest of the team are going to talk about on this call are really what are the next big things here. Marketplaces, universal APIs, the customization, There's dynamic transactions. I mean, there's so many great things coming on board in the roadmap here. And we're going to address not just what they are, but how we come to do them and why you are so important as part of this process of making sure that the things you need get into the system and making sure you know how to communicate that to us and making sure that you know that if there's something you need, if there's something the system's not doing, if you have this idea of like, wow, if ECGrid could do this, that would make things so much better. Please tell us, okay? You tell us, we'll figure out how to make it work. We will get it into the system, all right? And that's, I mean, the future's now. This is what we do. When we started ECGrid as an actual thing and an idea in 1999, we were looking really far ahead. What is the market going to need? And that's where we stand, is in the future all the time and delivering it today as much as possible. So there'll be time for questions at the end of this. So make sure if they come into your mind while we're going through this, while somebody's talking, please just post it in the chat, in the Q&A for Zoom. We might not get to them right away, but we will definitely get to them at the end of the call when we go through all of that. So thank you so much for being on this call today. We appreciate it so much. Without you, we don't have a business. So please continue to give us feedback, talk to us, let us know what you need, and we will be there. We will answer. We answer the phone, we answer the email, we answer support, anything you want. You give us a call, you can reach out to me. My email address is there. Let me know what you're thinking. So that's what we got right now from me. The rest of the call should be very, very interesting. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Todd. Yeah, EDI sure has come a long way, and it's always inspiring to peek into the future and see what's waiting for us there. So exciting for sure. And for those of you wondering, we want to let you know this webinar is being recorded and it will be available for rewatch later. So now let's hear from John Gatrell about product innovation.
Thanks, Linda. And I can't emphasize enough what Todd said. As we develop our strategic roadmap, as we work with our customers, it is important that we listen and we take action. And when I think about what innovation is, part of it is not just thinking you can do stuff different, but actually doing it different. And that's how we look at our product discovery process. It's how we look at working with our customers. And one of the most important things we think to provide excellent customer experience is to really be held accountable for what we said we would do. And so I'd like to kick off today's product roadmap discussion to really talk about what we discussed last year and how we actually delivered on that in terms of what we said we would do and actually what we've done. And at NexComData, we use a methodology where we look at 3 different time horizons with our strategy and roadmap. First, we look at what are those things we are working on now? And when you think of now as a time box, that's really things we're actively working today and those things that will be released this quarter or next quarter. Then there are things that we're going to prioritize for delivery next. That's 2 to 3 quarters out where we'll start doing the work. And then there's those more strategic items that require dependencies or architectural changes that ultimately need to be done later as we make the necessary changes to support those strategic deliverables. And so what we showed you last year are these exact set of boxes. And in the spirit of accountability, the activities or the items that we actually completed are the items that are in white. We delivered multiple deliveries for our customers for their own AS2, where they can set up their own managed AS2 ID, where they can manage their own URLs, where they can have self-service certificate. We put better alerts with an organizational-wide SIEM implementation that will allow us to build AI-centered alerts and notifications for our customers. And so I'm very excited that we delivered on so many items. In fact, we've delivered nearly 500 maps in our public repository for our customers and partners. for our order to cash, as well as some vertical map packs. And I was talking to a customer just the other day, and they were saying that by using some of those maps in our public depository, it's taken the creation of a new map from 8-10 hours to potentially as low as an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the changes a given trading partner might require. And so very excited to actually deliver those items. The things that we're actually working on today is a PEPL access point deliverable, but also enhancing and refreshing our infrastructure, bringing to bear a new tier 3 data center that will allow us to rapidly, in fact, it's geographically dispersed. With our goal is to have one in the West Coast and one on the East Coast. And that's what we're moving forward with in this infrastructure refresh. Now, one of the reasons we didn't deliver all of these items is because our customers asked us for additional things, and we needed to make changes in our architecture and integration offering around our API. And so we updated our global API capabilities to be 64-bit. We created new mailbox clients to help our partners rapidly deploy for their customers. We've enhanced our simplified dashboard, which is our data transformation platform on ECGrid, where our customers and partners can manage their own inline translation, create their own maps, even start your own managed service. We've improved error management across all of our systems and capabilities. Our customers wanted cloud-based storage. We continue to build integration adapters. We've got NetSuite as an example here. And to increase their usability and productivity, folks wanted ease of access and bookmarking for their favorites on ECGrid. And so really excited that we're able to get this much done. And we couldn't have done it without engaging our customers. And so how do we engage our customers? Well, we implemented and always follow up with customers that we recently won or maybe lost to figure out why they made the decision, what we could have done better in our sales engagement or marketing message. And we talk to our customers. In fact, our customers are critical to providing us real world problems we can solve that will actually be used in production. And how do we source those customer interviews? It's from our online portal survey, where right now we're running a 1-question survey saying, what would you like to see in ECGrid? And then we follow up on those, as well as the customer support surveys. Good or bad, we do like to reach out to our customers to dig in. And that's what's a little bit different in our service, as well as delivering a roadmap that focuses on the strategy that Todd put together around driving integration and automation for better efficiency in the supply chain. And so the roadmap looking forward for this year and beyond, some of the things that I just talked about working on now, PEPL are currently in process and the infrastructure refresh, customer support tools. These are self-service tools that both our partners and our customers can leverage, as well as our internal support teams to more rapidly address your concerns as they might come up. Todd talked about marketplaces. Increasingly today, many of our customers who are historically suppliers to retail are also becoming retailers online. So whether it's a Shopify connector that we have, whether it's Amazon Marketplace, Target, or Walmart, which is the next one we're going to bring to market, you can have that single connection to rapidly integrate into online commerce channels. And so as we actively work on these items, now we're in the planning phase for many of these items in the next 2 to 3 quarter range. Todd talked about AI-driven alerts. In fact, we are going to implement an anomaly-based alerting infrastructure for our customers that analyzes the behaviors of customer interactions as well as our system interactions to identify problems before they become an issue for anyone in your supply chain. Many of our customers have asked for better and more dynamic transaction search capabilities, as well as transaction reconciliation. A simple use case might be 997 reconciliation. And we, in the spirit of eating our own dog food, we continue to integrate, simplify, into our infrastructure to have a more seamless experience for our customers, our business partners, and their users. And as we continue to work down this time horizon, those more strategic items are really about build your own reports. I think we've got a theme here today about have it your way. Build your own custom reports, build your own alerts, integrate those alerts via API right into your end users' activities, whether it's in the finance organization in ERP or someone in the dock or the warehouse, making sure that item gets shipped. Increasingly, we are seeing more and more business users wanting to use our platform to better under, like a brand manager or a buyer at a retailer. And they want to be able to have those folks inside their business be able to see everything that's happening in the supply chain. So we're putting together a read-only role for both our partners and our customers to leverage. There's been input that C# is certainly a powerful tool for us to use as part of the extended integration capabilities and Simplify. We're going to also build pardon the word, a simplified version of scripting that doesn't require folks to know C#. And Todd talked about this. We're going to create a universal API for marketplaces that will allow you to participate, roll out your products in multiple channels, and continued work on ECGrid OS. That's the API architecture that underlies all of our activities, whether it's our portal, whether it's Simplify, or whether it's some of the integrations our customers have put in place over time. And so this is our directional focus for the next year, delivering on solutions that drive integration with your business partners, your systems, and for your customers. If we're talking about customer-centered delivery, maybe we should, now that you've had the opportunity to see our current roadmap and hopefully absorb some of this, or maybe have questions, you can definitely put questions we can answer later. But this is where we get to the first interactive part of the day. And I think Linda introduced a service we use called Mentimeter. You can access this service by either putting in a browser and going to menti.com and putting that code in, or using the QR code that you have there. And the item that I'm most interested in is what would you like on the roadmap, which isn't currently prioritized or part of our plan. And so I'll give you all a second to move to menti.com and to fill out the questionnaire that's there. And hopefully our team can show these responses in real time. Hopefully you can see this right now. What would you want on the roadmap which currently isn't prioritized? And then we can see your responses in real time. I see someone put a job. If you could do me a favor, the person that answered that, could you put a little more detail in the Q&A? Because so we better understand what you're referencing for a job. GUI updates to the dashboard. I think Crystal's going to have some really good feedback on this as we roll into the next section. And so just a reminder, you can browse to menti.com and use the code 57195342, or use your phone and leverage the QR code to go directly to this question. All right. I'm pleased to let the person know what sort of self-guided capabilities will we have on Simplify. We're deploying a capability around User Pilot, which will provide inline UI tips and tricks. And we're also launching very shortly, a online training and certification in the next 10 business days for our simplified customers to get a certified badge using that product. And that can help your team ensure they have the skills to use that product and support production. And for those of you that are business partners using it, it'll help your sales team, whether it's your solutions engineers or consultants, or your PS team to get those skills they need in a very self-service focus. All right, we'll give you just a few more seconds to browse to menti.com or use the QR code. I appreciate the feedback and the month-over-month metrics. That's a great ad, and I think Crystal will probably drill into that as well in just a second. And I've got the QR code covering that third item on the left. So, all right. Better filters for transactions. We already have that in scope for you all. And so I do want to thank all of you for providing this feedback. But to Todd's point and to our overall culture, this isn't where listening ends. And so what I would like to say is if you didn't want to put something online or you have an in-depth item that you would like to provide additional feedback on, please just send me a quick email at jgatrell@ld.com and provide that additional information, because product management and everyone at ECGrid is ultimately your partner. So thank you for the opportunity to go over our roadmap. I look forward to another great year of solving your problems and building capabilities into our products.
Thanks so much, John. There's always so much going on to stay ahead of the curve, and your team really does make it look so easy. So now it's time to grab your notepads as we move on to some EDI best practices. Crystal and Michelle, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Linda. As you heard from John, your feedback and feedback from our internal teams is extremely important to us. Our goal is to continuously bring you the best and most valuable features that will enable you to be successful. As the ECGrid portal is ever evolving, I'm excited to share with you some of our best practices, ECGrid team favorites, tips and tricks to help you get the most out of your ECGrid portal experience. As we go, as has been mentioned already, please feel free to ask any questions in the chat below. We'll try to get to them, and for those we can't get to, we will address at the Q&A session at the end. Our first best practice tip is reminding you of our ECGrid Resource Center. On the right side of every ECGrid portal page, you will find a Need Help tab. This tab will take you directly into our searchable resource center, which is continuously being updated with information on the most recent features, answers to questions we're hearing from our customers, release notes, and more. You can find information on both ECGrid, ECGrid portal, as well as ECGrid Simplify. So I did see a question on more tutorials and information on Simplify. Please feel free to check out our resource center to see if any of the articles or tutorials in there can answer your questions. Hopefully this is a helpful tool for you. If you want to speak with sales to learn about other opportunities that are available, you can also find a handy option in there to place a call directly on their calendars at your convenience. I know you've all heard of our ECGrid OS API. John and Todd both mentioned it earlier, but have you ever wondered how to get started? Every ECGrid user has a unique API or session key found under their user profile, which provides you immediate access to the entire ECGrid OS API suite. And you don't have to completely recreate the wheel. You can start with a single use case and expand from there. The ECGrid OS API provides full control, account provisioning, transaction management, connectivity, and so much more. The most up-to-date information and documentation for the ECGrid OS API, including our Getting Started documents, are available on GitHub. The link is found here on the screen. You can also find the GitHub links on any ECGrid mailbox by navigating to the My Connections tab and then API command line tool. Now that you know how to get started, let's take a look at an example of an API call. The one we're going to look at today is parcel info. As with any of our API calls, you're going to start with an HTTP GET request to a URL. The parcel info API call URL is on the screen. In this case, the URL on the screen, is parcel info, but the response you're going to get back will include everything related to the parcel that you input in the call. So different date time values, the network it came from, the mailbox it came from, if applicable, byte size, status codes, and the status message that goes along with that code, as well as the full interchange information packet.
Hey, Crystal, we have a question here. Can you give a real-world example of when we would actually use this call?
Sure. Some use cases for parcel info would include status monitoring of all files coming inbound, or automating an inbound process for downloading files.
Thank you.
Michelle. Okay, reports. Have you ever needed some metrics or data analytics regarding your network or mailbox but didn't know where to look? By clicking on reports and invoices link found on both your left side navigation panel and your top side navigation panel, you have full visibility and access into a variety of pre-made reports. You can find information regarding the reports themselves on the on-demand page. There's no limit to the number of reports you can run, and there's no additional cost for any report. And the same is true of invoices. You can find your invoices by using the same reports and invoices link, then clicking the invoices tab at the top. The invoices tab is only available to specific authorization levels. Once you click on invoices, you will land on a list of your ECGrid invoices going back 2 years. To see further information, you can click on the specific invoice you have a question about, which will take you to the invoice details page. We know you're familiar with it, ECGrid AS2, but did you know? As with everything on ECGrid, ECGrid AS2 platform is also ever evolving. So here are a few things you may not have known. The ECGrid AS2 platform is a mostly automated process on both the customer side and trading partner side. We provide overlapping certificates for all ECGrid hosted certificates, which allows the expiring certificate to run in parallel with the new one. This provides customers and trading partners with the convenience to update the ECGrid certificate at their convenience during the parallel window. We also provide automated notices of our expiring certificates, as well as notices to customers and third parties when their certificates are about to expire. And unique to the industry, we provide third-party trading partners on our network with secure access to a self-service tool that allows them to update their profile as well as schedule their certificate change on our network. And as always, we provide bi-directional self-testing functionality to anyone updating their AS2 certificate on our network.
Hey, Crystal, we got one other question here. What happens if I upload a new certificate and my IT department has not updated it yet on my side? Will they start failing, or what happens?
That's a good question. As we were building our AS2 platform, we anticipated issues like these. If it's a customer side certificate, you can simply go into your portal and re-upload your current certificate to override the new one. You'll then schedule the new certificate for a new time. If it's an ECGrid certificate that you are planning to start at a certain date and time, you can continue to use the current certificate until you're ready to use the new one. Because we run our certificates in parallel, our network will recognize the active certificate that is being used. In preparation for this segment, we asked our amazing ECGrid support team what they've been hearing and some of their favorite features that they think you should know about. The first one is save your favorites. Have you ever wanted to have a shortcut to some of your most used ECGrid pages? Introducing our new favorites feature. By clicking on the star on the top toolbar of any ECGrid page, you can add that page to your favorites list. You can edit the page name to use what makes most sense to you and delete pages as you see fit. There's no limit to how many favorites you can add, so feel free to start adding favorites at your convenience. We also heard feedback that navigating between a mailbox and the user management link on the left side navigation panel could be time-consuming. To solve this issue, we created a mailbox users tab on the top navigation panel of every mailbox. This users tab has all of the same functionality as the user management link on the left side navigation panel, but it's just for the specific mailbox that you're on. You can create, view, edit, add or delete, suspend any user that's on that mailbox. And rest assured, you still have the same functionality in the user management link as you always did. A question support frequently hears is, how can I find a PO or ASN and some documents associated with it? We've made that easy with our dynamic filtering search results field that you can find on the bottom of every transaction page. Once you've done your initial filtering on top and have your results set, you can further isolate files by putting in one or more search values separated by a space. You can use as many values as you want, and you do not need to use exact values. Those aren't necessary. You can use just partial values. For example, if you are looking for a specific subset of a PO number, you can enter just the beginning numbers of that subset to view them all. And don't forget, you can always export and search, you can always export or resend any search results. Another issue we've heard from customers is that they may have an opportunity to trade with a new partner, but want to know if it's already on the ECGrid network. We've provided a global search on multiple screens, including the dashboard, that will allow you to search our network for an ID or a company description. You can also use wildcards if you don't know the full ID or a company name.
Hey, Crystal, we got one more question here. Sure. About the global search. If someone finds their trading partner in that search, does that mean that they need to also send a follow-up email to their support department, or kind of what are the next steps once you do find the trading partner on our network?
Sure. Well, with ECGrid being fully self-service, you rarely need to send an email to support to set up a trading partnership. You can set up the trading partnerships directly from your portal website, but we do recommend that you always send an email to your trading partner to ensure the partnership is set up on their VAN as well.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know profile preferences aren't usually included in a favorite section. Tendency is to set up your profile preferences in the beginning and then forget about them. But we've built in what we think are some cool new preferences that we want to make sure you're aware of. The first is the login landing page. The ECGrid portal defaults to the dashboard as a user's landing page, but sometimes a user may find the transactions page or mailbox list page to be more valuable to land on. So we've created a handful of different landing page options for you to choose from to further customize your experience. I also wanted to mention the time zone feature. As a default, we use the time zone in your browser to calculate the different times on the ECGrid portal. However, you can override that time zone. Use case for this would be if you're working with a client and want to see the same times that they're seeing in their time zone, you can adjust it in that instance. Or if you're working off-site, so your browser shows the off-site time, but you still want to see the time zones for your normal workspace. And our last tip today is about testing. Most of you know that you can test any of your connections through the My Connections tab on my mailbox. But did you know that you can also test any partnership? By drilling down to the detail page of any partnership and scrolling to the bottom, you'll see a feature that allows you to send a test to that trading partner or receive a simulated test from the trading partner. I hope this review of our best practices has been helpful and will ultimately enhance your ECGrid experience even further. As you know, we love feedback. So I'm going to ask you again to join Mentimeter for the interactive portion of this segment by using the QR code and URL here. Michelle, do you want to get us started?
Yeah, absolutely. So our first question is, what new metric or graph would you find valuable on the ECGrid dashboard? So I'll go ahead and give you guys a minute here to enter in your responses. Just as a quick reminder, some of the current dashboard widgets that we do have are transaction volume, your network health, and the month-to-date metrics. So I do see, again, that month-over-month metrics comparison that we saw earlier with John, which is a great add that we can have for our dashboard. So hopefully there's some more suggestions coming in here. So again, we're doing trends over time, which is a great feedback, total errors for the day. Okay, so yeah, summarized view of all the errors, that sounds like it would be a great add-on. We do have individual errors, but summarizing it would be good. Any others? We'll give it one more. Yep, so some more error notifications. All right, this is all great feedback. We'll give it one more minute here to see if anything else comes in. Filter by transaction type. New status or new recently added trading partners. Great, thank you. I think we'll go ahead and move on to the next one, but if you guys think of more, you can continue to add them here and it will collect it behind the scenes for us. So the next question that we have here is, what ECGrid feature do you wish you better understood? So again, I'll give you some more time to enter in your responses. An example might be you want to learn more practical uses for those API calls that everyone was talking about on today's presentation. Just another note that the feedback here will also help guide us in enhancing our knowledge-based articles and those resource mentions that that Crystal had earlier. So those tutorials, that kind of stuff. Let's see, we've got some carbon copy information, reseller rebranding. Oh, we're getting behind this QR code. Maybe if I close that there we go. Mailbox data paths, API usage, troubleshooting steps. Okay, some more graphs by mailbox for comparative. Great, these are all awesome ideas here. Description of my AS2 for the partner management for that new feature. Great. All right, any others coming in here? All right, this might be it. So Crystal, do you want to go ahead and take it back? And again, if there's more that comes in, you can continue to add them into our Mentimeter, or you can contact anyone else, any of the email addresses that have been provided.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Michelle. And thank you all for that great feedback. We will take that back internally, and you will continue to see new features and options available to you as we continue to go. Thank you all, and back to Linda.
Thanks so much, Crystal and Michelle, for those handy tips, and to everyone who participated. Those were really great ideas. Well, today we're excited to announce a new initiative that allows you to share your positive ECGrid experience with others in the EDI community. I'm talking about our Pay It Forward referral program. If the rumors are true, you may know some colleagues and peers at other companies who might be facing some challenges with their current EDI providers. Perhaps they're experiencing lagging support, unreliable service, unjustified rate increases, or other frustrations. Regardless, we're asking you to pay it forward by simply telling your friends and peers in the EDI space that they should strongly consider migrating their EDI to ECGrid. In the chat, you'll find a link to a webpage with all of the details, including the fact that Todd has agreed to make a $100 donation to the charity of your choice for every referral that signs up. The important thing is simply to share your positive ECGrid experience with your network and encourage them to have a conversation with us. If they join the ECGrid family, we'll make a $100 donation to the charity of your choice. And by the way, we'll also be waiving the setup fee for your referrals. So it's a win all around. And now, without further ado, here's Tony D'Angelo with the ECGrid Awards.
Thanks and welcome, everyone. All right, so awesome presentation so far, yes? So, of course, I want to thank the marketing department for making my presentation the easiest one to give. I have the honor of recognizing our customers and our partners for all the amazing innovation, growth, integrations, and all the great things we've been doing over the past year, especially the integrations into the ECGrid backbone and the ecosystem at large here at LearnData. So before we start, just know that there were so many of our ECGrid user community that have unique creative services, and we actually wanted to start naming everyone, but we'd be here all day, so we're not going to do that. So let's go. So first up, the System Integrator of the Year. And System Integrator of the Year is the ECGrid partner who has integrated more customers and associated systems and their users into ECGrid over the past year. And the winner is the team over at Boomi. So congratulations to the Boomi team. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate your partnership. So next up, we have the API Integrator of the Year. So as you've seen on some of the other presentations, we do have a full suite of API access into our systems. As a matter of fact, it's pretty unique in the van world. We are the only API-based EDI van in existence right now, and we encourage you to use for all of our partners and customers and any integrators that want to utilize our systems and do those integrations. So the API Integrator of the Year is the ECGrid customer or partner who's demonstrated the most extensive use of ECGrid's APIs over the past year. And the winner for 2025 is Soligo. So thanks and congratulations to the Soligo team for all the integrations they've done with the APIs. It's been a pleasure working with you guys on that. So next up, we've got the Customer of the Year. So this is the ECGrid Direct customer who over the last year has implemented more EDI traffic, more users, more trading partner integrations into ECGrid, and have done an awesome job over the past year. So this year, for 2025, the winner is Best Buy. So congratulations, Best Buy team. It's been great working with you all, and we look forward to a lot more. And the last award, this one's the toughest to select for a lot of us in the company when we're going through this, which is the Reseller of the Year. As you know, a lot of our business is through the resellers and partners and integrators and many others. So this award is for the ECGrid reseller who has utilized the most ECGrid services, resulting in the most growth over the past year, both in their user community and the services, on ECGrid at large. So this year, the award goes to our friends over at NexComData. So congrats to the NexCom team. We really appreciate that. So congratulations to all the award winners, and a big thank you to all of our customers and resellers. We wouldn't be here without you. And of course, we value your partnership and our relationships with you. We really appreciate it.
Congratulations again to all the winners. We'll be in touch with each one of you to arrange for shipping of the actual physical award over to you. We'll also be sending an email to everyone on this call in the next day or so with some invites and reminders, including information on our next webinar, which happens to be on March 19th. Feedback from our town hall last year included having more industry insights. So we've lined up an informative session featuring Amy Ryder from GS1 US, who'll talk to us about Project Sunrise 2027 and what we should all be doing to prepare for the end of life of the UPC barcode as we now know it. So we hope to see you all on March 19th. All right, so we do have some time left to answer some final questions if there are any in the queue.
We do have a question here, and I'll direct this one to Crystal. They're wondering if there's a resource where they can read more about how to implement the APIs or just better documentation around our API suite.
Absolutely. First, you can always look on your portal site by going to My Connections on a mailbox and then API command line tool that will direct you to different links within including the GitHub site, and then also the resource center. If you look up APIs, there will be some articles in there as well.
Great, thank you, Crystal.
You bet.
So we don't really have a question, but we have a comment. Linda, I'm not sure if you want to read that comment.
Here it is. Thank you, ECGrid support team, best support team in the industry, Best Buy e-business team. Oh, we have loved our experience with Best Buy. Thank you so much for that kind comment. And we look forward to continuing to work with you.
So there is one more comment here that says, Todd, we have enjoyed working with the team over the years, and we're pleased to hear the updates from you. What are you most excited about now in EDI?
So that's actually a question I think about all the time, because I've been actually extremely excited about EDI since I first found out what the heck it was in 1992. But what really excites me about this is really how everything is poised now to move from web EDI into integrated EDI. And today we sit with probably 70% of everybody who does EDI is still doing web EDI. And it's so simple to move those companies now into a really integrated tool where they can actually get the benefit from EDI, not just the benefit from having a large customer that told them they had to do EDI. That when they came into EDI, it wasn't even really an IT decision. Their sales department went out, they landed a big fish, they've got a big client, they're so excited. It might have been Walmart or Target or Amazon or Ford or second tier supplier in the auto industry. And they were just so excited to get the business that they just had to scramble and do anything they could at the time to implement their EDI. But now, they really haven't probably revisited it because it's just working and they're making their money, but they don't quite realize the power of what they can tap into so easily. And so to me, what excites me is that now is the time. I mean, that future is now. They were looking for a day maybe when they can really use it. They can use it now. They can use it through direct tools we have. They can use it through, our resellers have so many great integration tools with so much knowledge in so many different areas that they can help these companies out, that I think we're just going to see a massive move from web EDI to integrated EDI in the next couple of years. And that really excites me, because all of us who've been doing this for so long are going to get to see, our vision come to fruition through actually seeing EDI really doing what it was meant to do. And then once that happens, then the dominoes just start knocking over, because once somebody has it integrated, like, oh my God, I could use it here and I could use it here and I could use it here. And I think we're just going to see those dominoes start falling, and just this amount of EDI usage just explode in the next few years. That's what excites me.
Great. Thank you, Todd. I do have one more question here. This is for the product team. Can you please explain more about the now, next, future idea you're using for development? So this is probably more for you, John, going back to your presentation.
Yeah, certainly I can provide insight to that. When you think about a roadmap is a stated direction for the future. It's not a release plan. And if you've ever delivered product, estimates are hard to do until you start doing the work. So we use a 3-phase horizon. In fact, it's called the 3 horizons approach to roadmap development. And it prioritizes things we're working on now, next 1 to 2 quarters, items that we're going to work next, the following 2 or 3 quarters, and those items beyond that may require some of those early deliverables. And so the reason we don't put actual dates on it is building product is harder than it looks. It's not just a few lines of code. In fact, I'm amazed at the work Greg and Todd or the history of this company have built and made it work. I mean, these folks are taking zeros and ones, making features and UIs that are clickable. And so our approach is to state our strategy and direction. And then as we do the work, be held accountable that the strategy we delivered is the strategy we told you about is actually the strategy we delivered.
Thanks, John, for addressing that. Linda, you want to wrap it up?
That's it. Yeah. Thank you all. Thanks so much for your questions. Well, folks, 2024 was a great year for EDI, and 2025 has started off even stronger. We wish every one of you much growth and success, and remind you that we're here for you and we are ready to help. So from all of us at LaurenData ECGrid, thank you so much for attending, and we will see you soon. Until next time.